something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware.
Welcome to Occupy TV, a project of the Occupy Eugene Media Group. I'm Dave. With me are Josh and Jana. All of us are members of the Occupy Eugene Media Group. And for starters, I'd like to talk about how you got involved with the media group. What was your inspiration?
Well, I actually got involved the second to last day of the park blocks. I started doing live streaming from right then, because that was something that was already an interest of mine beforehand, and doing video and stuff like that. And right from the get-go, I wanted to get involved and kind of just do that because I already did that, kind of had the idea for working on media-related stuff from them, but like the idea of like a media group came more towards the end of October, and because I wasn't real sure about how I could and would plug into the media group, especially with all the hectic activity that was going on, moving around a lot, and every time we'd get built up, we'd have to take it back down. Yeah. And it kind of sat idle till about Washington, Jefferson, when I started doing the interview series, and I kind of stumbled through that, and then with everything else that was going on, it got put on hold again, and then finally, we've had the time to actually work on it, and all the people that are getting together with the media group, like Jana, were able to actually come together and start working on these fantastic projects.
That was exciting for me because I had been filming for months in the Washington Jefferson Park, and I was seeing lots of other people getting different kinds of media together and thought we should get together and work on things together and get great minds working together, create great projects. So I was excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, it seems like we have produced just an incredible amount of media since we started. Especially in the early days, everywhere you looked, there were cameras. There was news cameras, and we all had cameras. So yeah, it always made sense that we needed to get that all in one place and start making it into one cohesive product, I guess.
I agree.
Yeah. I was very excited when I guess you are the one who actually first formed the media group, aren't you, Josh?
I guess the actual media group. I know that I wasn't the first one that had the idea of doing a media group. I think I was the first person that started actually reaching out to get all these different people on the same page and working together on different projects and stuff. Because I really wanted to see people come in and actually be able to put all the filming that they had, all the projects that they wanted, the writing, the art, and the photography, and everything, and be able to at least create portals and a way for these people to communicate.
Right. Yeah. Well, it seems like within the last 2 or 3 weeks, though, in terms of what we have in Occupy Eugene, is when I really started to see the media group itself become a presence. Yeah. Whereas, media has been there all the time, and we've been YouTubing things and the such, but we hadn't actually had a group that was focusing on it. And
I think that was the difference, is that there was already so many people that were doing media. Jana was filming. You're doing all that photography, and writing and everything. And then, it was just about like, hey, let's work together in one group and and start just kind of creating projects. Instead of sitting idle and waiting for people to come to us and waiting for the media to actually come in and do our story for us. I think everyone kind of felt that it was time for Occupy Eugene to start doing our story ourselves.
Right. Right.
It's really important for us to be able to frame our own story and get it out there in a way that people can understand what's really going on with us, because the media is kind of looking from the outside in. They don't really get the same story. We know what the story is, so it's kind of our responsibility to get it out there, it seems like to me.
We're here day in and day out. Occupy Eugene is happening in Occupy Eugene. It's not happening at K-Val, and it's not happening in the Register Guard or anything like that.
And that's right.
We're the ones who are best suited to tell that story. Earlier today, we were trying to knock out a mission statement, and I'll just go over the bullet points that we have. the mission, as we see it so far, is to protect and archive our media, to raise awareness about Occupy Wall Street as well as Occupy Eugene and the circumstances that caused us to come around, and to educate, which I guess is hand in hand with raising awareness.
It is.
The issues of the 99% and the 1%. And then probably one of the things I see as most important is networking, because we become stronger as we bring more and more groups under this umbrella. And we need to network between different occupations, network between different media sources, and we need to actually build the infrastructure of a network. When we have all these videos on YouTube, what are we doing with them? How are we making sure that they all come into one place and get to a steady stream of viewers and such? So we have the need to build a physical network. Protect and archive seems like probably the easiest of those topics, so I figure let's start with that one.
Well, it can be the easiest of the topics, but it can also be a difficult process to do because you have to have a lot of redundancy when you're doing that. I mean, you want it to be on different online sites, and so that it's on different servers and it's disseminated to different areas. But also you want to have multiple different ways of storing that media that is not on the internet, so that the information can be protected and archived for historical purposes.
Do you want to talk about the issue that was raised over the last few days about media disappearing from the net?
Yeah, it's come to my attention that there's been a lot of circumstances, especially around the Occupy movement, of content disappearing from like the YouTube channel and stuff being taken down from Facebook and all these other places where their accounts were hacked, and everything that they had worked on just disappeared, and they didn't always have the material to restore that. So that's definitely something that needs to be remembered, especially for different groups that are working around the country at towards the same goals that we are.
Right. Yeah. There are people who, it appears there are people who don't want us to get out the information that we are trying to get out.
It would appear that way. Yes. I mean, who would think, right?
I know.
It's important to back up your material, just in a regular project, always. So it just seems like it's definitely important in more than one way, because the more places you put it on the internet, the more you can be found as well. And you have more backup plans for how to take care of your media.
Kind of, a decentralized nature towards media is just a very intelligent, a very smart thing to do these days, because it's going to make it that much more difficult for people to interfere with the message that you're trying to get through.
Right. Yeah.
It's so important, because documenting this event is really what brought me to Occupy at first. Was I started experiencing these incredible conversations about meaningful things, and I thought, we got to get some of this on tape. We have to capture this moment in time and share it with the world. And so I think documenting this Occupy movement is really vital and important, and protecting that is equally as important.
We've had outreach to Occupy Eugene from the Knight Library at the U of O for just that purpose. They want archival footage of things that we've been doing, and so that they can have people looking at it decades from now.
And I see that as an important outlet. Yeah, it's a resource that should be used to its full potential. So.
Then the other challenge of archiving, though, is just the sheer volume of material that we have.
Yes, there is a lot of material.
Jana personally can attest to that, since she has so much that needs to be processed and turned into a finished product.
Which was another piece to the media group, was just being able to connect with people that either have experience or just want experience with working with media, and being able to find that with each other and work together on projects, because it's way too much for one person to take on by themselves.
And there are so many people who are already doing it as well. So part of our mission, I think, is to reach out to all those people and give them a place to bring their material. If they're not ready to edit and create a final product out of it, maybe they'd be willing to let us do that work. A key, we have two key elements there: archive and protect. But I think they're both, substantial. Either anything else you two would like to say on that particular topic?
No, I think that we pretty much covered it.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty clear-cut conversation there. So.
All right. Well, then the next thing would be raising awareness. We could talk about raising awareness of the movement itself and Occupy Eugene. I think they both need a different amount of time. Eugene itself, we from the inside don't feel as though what we're doing is being presented adequately, I guess would be the way to put it. And the news about Occupy Eugene doesn't match the experience of being in Occupy Eugene. So raising awareness through the Occupy Eugene Media Group is something that we will need to do.
I agree. Do you want to lead this one off?
Raising awareness.
Yeah.
Well, I've worked for several years in raising awareness about global issues, economic injustice issues, and all those kinds of things. So I think that the Occupy Media Group just creates a central space where we can all participate together in sharing the information about how serious those things are and about this great group that is taking on the idea of trying to tackle the big business and the 1% and figuring out how to change these things.
I agree. I think, as Getch was saying, David, sorry.
That's okay.
As David was saying, the media hasn't always painted a very good picture of Occupy Eugene. And that's something that, by providing content portals to people that are already working on these projects, it's going to make it a lot more difficult for the message that we're putting out there to get skewed. Right. And that's something that I feel is extremely important for the entire movement, is that we have ways of getting our own message across and, actually connecting both with local community and with the world as a whole. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think in that particular area, the raising awareness concept is the concept of the narrative, and how, and we keep hearing this mentioned to us repeatedly, that if we don't frame our own narrative, then other people will frame it for us. And as we collect all this media, we can find the narrative within it. We can tie it all together and find the narrative that is coming out just through happenstance, through us coming out every day and doing the things that we do. But we haven't been able to do that yet. So that's I see as one of the key functions going forward is providing that narrative and providing shape for the narrative.
Yeah, I think it's important also. But as far as getting like a complete picture of the narrative, that's why I think that diversity within the group and having a lot of different type of people working on different types of materials, art, photography, writing, multimedia stuff, music, and all those different platforms, and having just a very diversified, number of people that are going to create that. It's going to give just this wonderful view of what Occupy is and the culture within Occupy, both Eugene and the Occupy movement as a whole. And that's it's one of the things I love about the way that this group is kind of developing, is we just have so many people that are just like, I want to do that, I want to get in on that.
Right.
And
It's amazing because everybody has a piece to offer, and there's people who have connections to a lot of different experts that can give professional information about different subjects. And then, especially here in Eugene, one of the things I think is really great is we have a lot of elders that have been a part of historical protest movements, and so they have personal experiences that they share, and all of those things combine into a whole picture that we can present ourselves as both being all the different pieces of the logistics as well as the stories and the individual experiences. It all plays into, everybody likes to hear all those different parts of it, and expressing it in a diverse way kind of makes it so all the viewers are included. Whatever their interest is, we have something to offer.
right on.
Yeah, and when we get to networking, I'll come back to this, but one of the issues that we were talking about earlier today is the idea that the narrative in order for it to really work, has to come at the grassroots level. It has to happen. Occupy Wall Street is this umbrella organization, and it's national, and it can tell a national narrative. It can tell the narrative of what's happening in the streets of Manhattan as well. It can tell a national narrative, but it can't tell the narrative of what's going on in Eugene, just as Eugene can't tell the narrative of what's going on in Corvallis. So one of the things that we want to do then is to create the physical network that will allow that narrative to easily flow out of all the other sister brother occupations around Oregon, and flow upward from there.
One of the things I think that we have to offer is that we are trying to tell the whole story, whereas what you get from mainstream media is they come in specifically to only get 10-second clips. That's all they can fit into their news media show, and so in doing that you really don't get the whole story. You just get like this tiny little piece of context to go by, whereas by giving the narrative you're kind of filling people in, and I think people will become a lot more knowledgeable about what's really going on that way.
And usually if they're getting just 10 seconds, they're getting the most salacious 10 seconds they can find. They're getting the craziest and the most out of touch, because it suits their purpose.
We'll just say it's a talent, apparently, that they have.
Right, and we have to develop a different talent.
I agree, and it's just very very important that we figure out effective ways as a movement, as we learn and go along, to make sure that we're going to continue to be able to build out and build better communication networks. I mean, there's a lot of different platforms that can be leveraged to do that, and if we don't do it, then who is? I think is the biggest question there.
Well, who is, as long as it's fellow occupiers, is going to be a different answer than if it's well,
that's
paid
true.
media, professional media.
I'm sure that we're not the only group that is working towards the same end. You'd met a gentleman in Roseburg that was working on a media group out there also, and I'm sure there's probably a lot more nationwide. And I think as time goes on, we're going to be able to really start putting those groups together and putting those projects together, and the scope of what we're doing is going to get, just a lot grander.
It seems reasonable to think that there are other media groups in other occupations doing almost exactly what we're doing.
They probably
right now.
are, yes.
I would not doubt it. It's just a matter of us finding each other, which is part of what our task is ahead of us. We might jump back and forth between different topics, but that was raising awareness is what we were talking about right there, which also leaks into education, which is probably, in my mind, one of the most important things on a national level, a national and local level. People need to understand why we're doing the things we're doing. Why are we occupying public space? Why are we out in the streets with signs? And why are we going to the city council and to the federal courthouse? What are the conditions in our society that are creating this? So it seems to me we need to find the ways to bring that material, that information forward. And care to address that?
I like the idea of educating people about the issues themselves and that brought us together as Occupy, and also educating people about what we're doing inside of Occupy. These are all of the amazing things that are going on, because without getting out there and telling people about it, they don't really know that we have 20 some odd committees right here doing multiple different things on any day of the week.
This is true.
And so, and letting them know, how Occupy works and what to expect if they want to be involved and things like that, which I think is really important.
Dead on. That's right.
Yeah. Definitely important. Being involved with Occupy Eugene it's really easy to forget that not everyone knows what's going on, because you're so in tune with it, and it's just like, it's a continual just bombardment of information and people and everything. And I'll actually get into the community, and especially outside of Eugene, and we'll run into all these people that they have no clue. Like, some of them have never even heard of the Occupy movement. And you're like, wow, you know, where do I start? You know, how can I explain this the best that I can so that, you know, it's going to not take 14 days, but yet I can, you know, leave with them having an awareness, something that they're going to want to look into and explore a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And raising education, I think one of the important things that we have to do there, and that's one of the major goals of the media group, is to really work on ways of reaching out to those people that aren't in tune with the movement and what's going on, both locally, nationally, and on an international level.
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I was doing sort of a reality test for myself in talking to some people from my childhood down in LA and asking them, what do you think about Occupy? And the responses I got were to the effect of, well, isn't that over? You know, didn't the occupations get closed? You know, so I guess that's part of it, is just educating people to let them know that no, it didn't end with the closing of Zuccotti Park or our own camp. That just transitioned us into a new phase, and actually a phase where we can do a lot more work than we could before, because maintaining a park is a lot, or a camp is a lot of work.
I agree. It was. It was I wouldn't call it a distraction, but it was a continual process. You know, you had to put a lot into it, and being able to get freed up for a lot of other projects. In a way, I've got to say thank you to the city and the police force for giving us that opportunity.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But,
well, I noticed, you were part of the engineering committee, a stalwart of the engineering committee.
I was.
Yeah, and I'll have to notice that you really did throw your energy behind the media group once the park was closed, and you weren't hauling bark mulch anymore.
Yes. I kind of went from building things and fixing tents and bringing in mulch to wanting to work on other projects that I was interested in.
Yeah.
So it was really just a shift of energy. It just kind of developed dynamically and naturally. So.
That reminds me of when we first started to really delve back into the media group after the Washington Jefferson closed, and you opened up all the different YouTube channels with the content-specific portals for music and writing and pictures. And the very next day, I opened up the music page and was just smiling from ear to ear, because there was a huge influx of material. People had just jumped on board. It was like we built it and they came.
That was pretty much it. It didn't really take a whole lot of work, especially on like you're saying, like the music page there on Facebook. It just kind of took off on its own and just did its own thing, which is exactly what we wanted to happen. And I can't wait to see how that's going to grow and develop going forward, because people seem to enjoy it. Right. Here's all the revolutionary music that I can come up with. Bam, I'll put it in there.
And all the revolutionary writing I can come up with, and
that's
the
right.
Facebook page, and
we've got so many different portals that we're trying to provide people. If you've got an interest in photography, there's a place to do that, and we want to documentaries. The podcast. There's art. Wow, I mean, there's so many that we're working on. The live stream channel, which is just now getting up. Theater. For those that are kind of interested in getting the different, they want to get plugged in more with the more theatrical aspects of it. Of course, there's the video page where we're going to start putting all the video content for Occupy Eugene.
That'll be one of the homes of Occupy TV?
It will. It is the home of Occupy TV right now. And as far as online. And also there's the interview channel that... me and Jana have kind of been working very hard to get off, especially Jana here lately. You put a lot of work into it, and I know that there's others.
Going without sleep?
Yes, many a night without sleep, from what I hear.
It's because I'm recording all day, so where do you find the time to capture it when you're sleeping?
When you're supposed to be sleeping.
I've been capturing before I sleep, and then I fall asleep capturing, then I wake up and set it to capture while I'm sleeping.
Yes, and you have a family, so that makes it just doubly, difficult, I'm sure.
It's a lot of work, so we definitely need this group to reach out and and ask people to join in and contribute your media and contribute your time if you want to help make great projects with us.
All hands on deck, in other words.
That's right. Yeah. This is a call to arms, so to speak.
No,
I'm not sure that that's such a great word to use, but you know.
No. Well, your hands. I said all hands on deck.
Yes,
with the ends of arms.
That's
so
right.
That's fine.
It'll work, I guess.
One thing I haven't actually spoken to you about is the theater page. Now, we do a lot of theater, with a lot of street theater and such. And I guess at the Occupy the Courts, I understand there was quite a lot of good theater just a couple of days ago. And is that what you had in mind when you were putting the Occupy?
Street theater was definitely a part of it. I also wanted to get like scripting and stuff like that up there so people could actually go and look at, and read over it and see what the story was about. But I was thinking about the acts and things that were getting put on at different benefits and actions and things like the Occupy the Courts. Just kind of give it a portal that people could go to and be like, well, hey, this is really interesting. Yeah. Because I know that there has been some very entertaining skits, that different events that I've been to, and it was sad that we didn't have a place to go and actually watch that very humorous content.
Right. Yeah. And if something shows up at Lord Liebrick, that'll have a home on that page as well?
Sure.
Right. Okay. Well, that's because that's definitely...
it's one of the funner ways to express our cause is through theater. And it's really a way that I think people get to kind of get into it and get something out of it, in that way. I think it's a really nice way to share what we're learning in a way that people can be entertained and enjoy.
Instead of feeling threatened, that's definitely a message that I can get behind.
Yeah.
So that both feeds into awareness and education, and when people are entertained, they're more likely to want to engage. So,
yeah, and if nothing else, through applause.
Yes.
But hopefully afterwards through other things.
I agree. If they're applauding, then they're interested and they're more likely to want to look into it a little bit more.
Right.
So.
Okay. So right now we're talking about educating people about Occupy Eugene, Occupy Wall Street. And that gets me the chance to talk about my thinking about the concept of a genre of information that seems to have cropped up. If you're on Facebook especially, you'll recognize the things that your friend posts that are out of that genre. Whenever somebody posts Wall Street bankers will get $23 billion in Christmas bonuses this year, and you get all the news stories about that. It's part of this new genre of information about why we should be so outraged. The news stories about all the foreclosures that are going on. For a while there, you don't see it as much now, but definitely through the fall, it seems like there was a new graph about how the top 1% or the top 10th of 1% have all this money, and all the rest of us have, like you have these graphs with, this really big bar and this little bar, and unfortunately we're all stuck in that little bar. So there's this genre is the best word I can think of it, and that usually isn't media or information that we're creating ourselves, but it's really valid, and it's really carrying our message. It's what started our message initially.
Well, I think having the content portals, the different genres of media going on. It's important to have that, but also get it linked with, the main pages and the main sites and stuff with Occupy Eugene, so that people do have a central place they can go to and they can be like, well, hey, look, I want to look at theater. I'm kind of interested in photography, just a place that's going to bring that all together, so that it's not confusing to those that are trying to find that information. Right. And I know that, the media group especially, they really want to work on kind of having that very genre-specific type information available to people that are interested in it.
It's one of the main things about the internet that kind of becomes a barrier for people is how do I find what I'm looking for? Right. So to have that genre-specific idea, then it just makes it easy for people to find their point of interest, which I think is really important.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and those are two different things. I just want to specify, the genre of, video, photography, and whatnot. But also, I was seeing a specific type of information that was coming out that we all began to, especially those of us on social media, began to be inundated with as Occupy was building up steam. Just the evil 1% versus the 99% news stories that were streaming out and informing our actions.
I think if you're on Facebook, really that's just something that's going to happen. It's kind of the nature of Facebook, I mean, you're going to get bombarded with a lot of third-party stuff, but there is ways of kind of using that, to get your own information out there. But I really don't see, Facebook as the central portal. There's other ways of doing that, more effective, and it's not Facebook.
Facebook isn't the answer.
Facebook is not the answer. It is one of the answers. It is a great place to engage a large amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of one of the focuses of the media group. Very much is to actually create our own portals that set up our own network, our own media platform to be able to engage.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just think it's important to diversify and to take advantage of all the different kinds of portals we can put our information into, so that people that don't do Facebook have other places where they find us. And there's just so many different things that we can touch into, and we made a whole list of different venues, both on the internet as well as even just putting flyers out, different ways to communicate. There's so many different ways, and the media group's idea is to take advantage of all of that and just do it all.
Yeah.
Right. Wrangle it all. One of the problems I've noticed about Facebook, is you can have every single organizer of every single occupation in Oregon as one of your friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're going to be able to organize.
Well, that's very true.
Because you don't have a central conduit to funnel all those people through. You can reach out to them as a mass, and then as a mass, each one of them can reach individually back again. But you don't have, through Facebook generally, the ability to work.
You don't, and I think that building up a network to do just that is going to be just one of the fantastic projects that the media group is really going to need to focus on.
Right.
And if we don't have a network to communicate, on a national level and an international level, then we're basically going to be treading mud. I mean, we're going to be stuck in one place, and we might get the message that we want, here in Eugene, but it's going to really slow down the efforts of making sure that we have the ability as a nation, really, to create our own media. To bypass the messages that we're concerned might cast us in a negative light, because of those 10-second snippets, because of incomplete stories. Ultimately, I mean, my goal is really to push mainstream media off into unimportance, no longer necessary, when it comes to the Occupy. But I think that's a grand illusion, but it is something I would definitely like to work on.
Yeah, it'd be good to figure out a way to use the media we have. Yeah, to circumvent that.
Yes.
Since we can't really count on the mainstream media to deliver our message for us, we need to just get around it, which I guess is what you're saying.
Very much so. Actually, I think you said it much better. So
I think one of the problems with Facebook that I experienced was when I put my stuff up on Facebook, it's just instantly lost. Sometimes I can't even find it again myself.
It is. Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I do like about the YouTube. If you're putting video content up there and stuff like that, is it doesn't get lost. You've got your playlist, and people can go and they can select what they want. So, we set up a couple different YouTube channels, which I think so far is the music, the Occupy Eugene video, and the interview series.
And theater.
And theater, yes, and,
There is
and
no
the theater.
Occupy TV yet?
No, it's in the video page.
Oh, okay.
That's on YouTube, and that links to the Facebook pages,
Okay. All right.
and also onto the Rise Up. So it's available from there also.
RiseUp.net. Which,
yes.
When you say Rise Up, are you using that to represent Occupy Media, Occupy Eugene Media?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's I believe that it can be accessed from there, and we're trying to get all the links and everything so that it's creating one large network where no matter where you're at and how people are interacting on those platforms, they'll be able to click on that link and go to that specific place. They'll be able to access the the content that's there with the Facebook kind of situation, with the exact material that they want on YouTube, and as well as other social media platforms that we're going to start kind of building out and leveraging.
Right. Or building away from.
Or building away from.
Yeah,
yes.
social media platforms.
That's right.
They are. So we're sliding nicely into the whole concept of networking. It seems like the interpersonal networking, we agreed, is probably the better way to go first. We got about 10 minutes a piece. We got about 20 minutes left. So maybe 10 minutes of talking about social networking. And I could start by discussing going to Salem yesterday for the first Occupy Oregon. I don't know if it was called the General Assembly or it was called the General Assembly. So, and I don't know if I guess it did continue to be called the General Assembly, where we did get to meet with about 14 people. Jana and I were there and met with 14 people from other occupations across Oregon, and there was a lot of excitement around the concept of forming media groups. As a matter of fact, as soon as I stood up and announced it, I had people walking towards me to say, "I want to talk to you," and there was clearly a lot of interest in that. And in our group, we talked about what are the issues that we're going to run into, and we talked initially. When I came up there, I was thinking, well, we need to have a place where everybody can just bring their media and dump it into this one big pool, and we can sift through it and find out what we want to use. And in discussion with that group that we had there, it became clear that that's not the most efficient way to do it. That we want to maybe find a way to have consistent formats, different websites with consistent formats, so that Occupy Medford can be creating their media and putting it into their website.
I wanted to also bring up the idea of actually leveraging peer-to-peer technology for sharing information in between different occupation sites, because it has such a amazing amount of bandwidth that is actually available to it compared to other stuff. We could put packages together of content.
You haven't even brought that one up
and
yet. That's exciting. I like that.
And actually kind of use that technology so that we can share large amounts of data back and forth between different areas very quickly.
That's kind of a tweak in the SOPA PIPA thing.
It is, yes, but they SOPA PIPA eat your heart out. It's completely legal, and it's all going to be legal content. So
right, yeah, but just to jump a little into the politics there, that seems to be the endangered part of the internet, is the peer-to-peer network.
It is. It does look to be a focus as far as that technology. Yeah. I don't want to delve into it too much right now, but it does seem to be a focus of it. Right. Yes, very much. When you start combining, different things, PIPA, ACTA, SOPA.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, and that would give us a chance, because one of the things I've been wondering about is when you're dealing with video and stuff, you've got so much, such large files. How are you going to efficiently be able to work on those and get them up onto the internet? But if you're doing peer-to-peer, suddenly it becomes easier.
Exactly. Everyone will be sharing that information that wants to get in on that, and we can break it up, and there will be no central archive. It will be disseminated between anyone and everyone that is interested in that material, which I think is important. and as long as we can still legally do that, then we should do that, and that's going to be part of the focus of some of the people that I'm going to start working with. That's going to get that off the ground.
Oh, that's exciting.
It reminds me of one of the things that I think is really great about the media group, because I have a degree, 2 years worth of education, but there's so much everybody has to offer about things that I don't really know about yet. So one of the cool things about our group is that you can come and you can learn about peer-to-peer technology through somebody who knows about it, or you can learn about Final Cut from somebody like me who knows about it, and you have your specialty in podcasting, and so we all contribute to that. And so it's not only a way for you to get your information together and share it, but to learn how to share it and all the amazing different ways that we have available with technology today. So people who are interested in media, I think, are definitely going to love this group, because they can not only share what they know, but learn from a vast amount of people that have all different special things to offer.
Another aspect of the education. So I want to touch upon a few more things that we discussed at the Occupy Oregon yesterday. One of them was a lot of interest around professional media presence, in using AP style and getting training for that. At this stage, it was just something that somebody brought up in Salem yesterday, and they appeared to have contacts. So that may be something that we'd be moving towards, is getting getting AP style training and such for each media group around Oregon.
There's been discussion here also on ways to do that. I'll have to talk to you about that later.
Yeah, okay.
So,
we do. Yeah.
Yes.
And here's where I wanted to give a couple of shout outs to two guys who I met yesterday up there. I think Patrick Flavin out of Roseburg. We're definitely looking forward to working with you. Dean Edwards, likewise. They both were very. Everybody was excited, but they both showed that they'd been working on this a great deal. Patrick was sharing just phenomenal ideas all throughout the whole time we were there. So we're really looking forward to outreaching with everybody, and that's what this time we're spending right now is a call out. We want everybody who has media, everybody who is interested in media and being involved in this to make contact with us. We'll be sure to include ways that you can contact us. Using media and creating a network, creating a person-to-person network, outreaching to different people, that is one of the things that we spent a lot of time discussing today. Do you want to touch upon that any more, or do you want to go into the physical structure of the media?
The physical structure of the media?
Yeah.
I guess the thing that I would touch on as far as the personal media sharing is that one of the things I came away with from the Occupy Oregon GA was just a real need for us to be able to communicate with each other and network with each other with all the different occupies just in our state, let alone globally.
Oh, yeah.
But just in our state, to know that we're all doing things independently, but we don't always know what each other is doing. So it seems really important that we're networking and kind of learning about what each other's doing, so we can plan events on different days, so we can all be a part of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Communication. It's a very important aspect of just about any type of or organization, anything that you're going to deal with. If you don't have good communication, then you're going to have issues.
Yes.
We'll say issues.
I think one of the things we were hoping to do was create a space in our media group where people could plug in their information so they can be reached, so that we can create those communications in a central place where people can connect with different media groups all over the state and have it there and available. I think for me it would be amazing, because then we can definitely create the communication between us that we're looking for.
Right.
We keep focusing on just the video aspect of things, and there's so much more to the media group. There's writers and stuff, reporters, people that want to do so many different types of content, And I think that getting more people like that involved with it is going to be, it's just going to be really important to the group, because we can't just focus entirely on video. There's so many different types of talent, so many people that are like, well, hey, I want to be involved. I want to do that, but, I'm not a videographer, I'm not a photographer, but I'm a great writer, and, put me to work, let me do something, and I really look forward to finding and engaging those people, so that they can start working on the projects that they care about, and they have a mission, they've got something to focus on, and they're going to know how to plug in. And I think some of the difficulties that people have had with Occupy is they don't always, they want to get involved, they want to be part of it, but they don't really always know how to do that. And I'm hoping that the media group can kind of help people that are interested in doing that. They can come and they can find someone that's involved with it, through the contact list, and be like, hey, where do I help out? How do I help out? And once they see the projects that we're doing and the message that we're putting out there and all that, they're going to be able to plug in to the different sections that they want to. And that's another exciting point for me is giving people direction.
Yeah. A woman came down to Occupy 5 the other night who was looking to get involved, and I asked her, what is it you want to do? And she said, well, photography. And if she had spoken to me 2 weeks before that, I would have said, well, that's great, and you should be out there every time we have an event. You should be out there with your camera and post it to Flickr, Facebook, whatever. But because of the work you had done, instead, I pulled out a piece of paper and I said, okay, well, look, here's all of the groups that we have right now. Tomorrow there's an event. Get out there, definitely photograph that event, and then get back to us through these channels that we have open, and we'll make use of the material, and we'll find ways to plug you in the future as well. So that's because we had the network structure in place.
It's still a baby, but it's really exciting to hear that that's already happening, because it's just it's amazing. It excites me, So.
Me too. Yeah, I wanted to be sure that artists knew that this call out was for them too, because that is something that is really a big piece of media, and then maybe some artists don't connect themselves to a media group necessarily, but artwork and Occupy are great comrades. I think.
They are, yes, because there's so many creative.
Media needs artists, and we need that kind of energy in the media group too. So I just want to be sure that artists knew that they're included, and let us know if you want to contribute some amazing artwork.
Media is all-encompassing. Everybody who's producing media has a home with us. And I guess that leads us to the discussion of the physical framework of how we are presenting our media. We are talking about Occupy TV, which is this right now, us sitting here. This is our 7th episode now, a 7th 1-hour episode.
There's been a few. I'm not sure the exact number, but I think it's right around in there.
We'll say 7.
7, okay.
It sounds good. And then last week I did get the Occupy Media podcast up and running, which is the audio version of this. So we have that going. We have Occupy Video, as you said, on YouTube, which is covering Occupy TV as well as everything else, basically all the events that we're involved in. So those are the bare bones of our network. That's what we have now, but that's not what we intend to stop at. We're talking about creating a front-end website that we can aggregate all of this. Most likely links. I don't think we'll be hosting the videos and the podcast directly on the site, but that'll be a portal that they can go through. And I guess I started to talk about this a little while ago, that we're hoping that if this is successful, it can be mimicked by other occupations around the state. And we should definitely find out how many occupations have a media group and interface with them. Definitely.
And kind of once we we start working a little bit closer with some of these outside groups that are already doing these media projects, we can bring them all together. There's no telling really at this point what other people are doing. We might find that there's already a group, in Cleveland or something that has been working on this longer and has a much better idea, and then we can network with them and really learn from the message that they have to tell us. as far as the physical nature of it, we're really going to diversify, such as the wiki thing that you've been talking about, and I think that that's very important because it's going to allow individuals, especially, to tell their stories.
Right, right.
And there's also reaching out to local experts and stuff like that, and very important. Yes. So.
Well, way back in Altenbaker is when I first was really thinking about putting together an education center for, where we could get speakers out and people who can speak about economic injustice and other problems, and give them a place to speak and an audience to hear what they have to say. And we haven't followed through with that to the level that I was envisioning. It's been coming and it's been growing, and that is definitely one of the things we can provide. So that's where you're going with that, I assume.
Yes, yes, it was.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's so many projects that are kind of just in their baby stages for this media group. The zine and the idea that we're going to eventually have that available at local bookstores, and there'll be a lot of written information available for Occupy Eugene Media as well. So that, and there's just a number of things. The Occupy Live show that somebody is beginning right now, which has a lot to do with theatrics and kind of embraces Saturday Night Live kind of energy towards Occupy. And so, I think that there's just so many different projects, like the wiki, and it's like, you guys got to get in on the ground level because we're about to go crazy.
It's very true. It's like there's an art walk that's going to be going on down there at Occupy, OEV, I guess it's been OEV, coined. They're at Polk and 7th on the last Friday of this month. I guess the 27th. 27th, is that it?
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of things going on with Occupy Eugene, and I think that the community needs to realize that we haven't just been sitting in one place. We're still very active, and we're doing a lot of things in a lot of different ways. And as it's going on, it's not slowing down; it's actually speeding up. So.
We're in the snowball stage right now.
That's right.
We may not be occupying the park, but we are definitely occupying our time still.
Yes, we're occupying the airwaves.
Yes. And on the subject of the zine, we were talking about that just before we went on air. It's going to be old school. It's not going to be produced on a computer. I don't know if it's being produced right now. I haven't seen it yet. But the idea is that they want to include art, writing, news. Be a grassroots zine, and photography, but it's cut and paste kind of thing. I mean, literally cut and paste. So that'll be a nice throwback image that we have to present.
I agree.
Yeah. The other aspects of the network, though, I guess, if we were to start dreaming right now, how would you see, 2 or 3 months from now, what if somebody encounters us on the internet, what are they going to see?
Have you ever seen that cartoon Pinky and the Brain?
No, I haven't.
No? What are we going to do tonight? Take over the world. So, but I could envision, ultimately, if like I had to go with what my big, dream, of course, it would be to see all the changes that everyone's fighting for actually come to fruition, and that all the efforts that everyone worldwide's been putting into this movement is really going to matter. It's going to affect change. It's going to affect law. It's going to help the environment, and it's going to really bring people together and create communities and communication that has kind of fallen to the wayside in not just American society, but in a lot of different societies worldwide.
So I get to be a little more specific, though. What I'm kind of envisioning is if somebody clicks on whatever our URL for Occupy the media group is going to be, and they come to our website, what do you see that happening there? I mean, we're gonna have video. We're gonna have spoken word. Are we going to have, maybe a section of the page is devoted to national Occupy News. And then maybe we'll, since we're Eugene, we'll have a section that's devoted specifically to Eugene, and then another section. It's going to be bringing in Klamath Falls, and it's going to be bringing in Newport, and,
Yes.
you know, and Bend, and, you know, and whatever news they've got going on.
Well, like you were saying, kind of, you know, start local and kind of build out from there. And you know, the contents that the contacts and everything that we make going forward, especially, is going to help us do that, because we'll be able to do that. We can have the website, and we could just have the sections, you know, like you're saying, local, regional, and then ultimately national, and international. That's right.
That's true. Yes.
And you know, I think that also the Occupy Eugene Media Group is going to really have to plug in with some of the larger movements and larger things that are going on worldwide, and that's really where we need to take it. You know, that's where we need to be to really communicating with the other people that are out there, and making sure that our part of it's getting told and their part of it's getting told.
I see it as a hub, a place where people are going to be able to come to plug in what they have to offer, as well as find a vast array of anything they could possibly think of wanting to learn about. That's what I hope to see in a few
Right on.
months.
I like that. Yeah, that's very good. If you want to know it, you want to learn it, we've got enough material for you to work on. That's hopefully, you know, that's what'll.
Yeah.
You know, by the time we're done, probably someone will be able to plug into the Occupy, you know, media groups and get themselves a PhD in culture and you know, psychology. Who knows, right?
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Well,
Yeah. So, and also, if you've got it, if you've got it in terms of media, if you've got it in terms of written word, photography, whatever, it'll be the place where you can plug it in. You know, I mean,
definitely.
Perhaps they'll plug it in through a YouTube link, but you know, still, if you go to YouTube and you search Occupy, then you're going to find umpteen zillion different channels. So what we're hoping is this will be the one where you can go to and you can find the stream of information that's going to most meet your needs. You know. And it'll do that because it's coming up from each individual occupation and is being formed at the grassroots level for each occupation. So that's my vision of what we'll eventually be seeing.
I agree. I think that if you have content, or you want to produce content, or you're curious in any way, you need to come down. You need to get involved. There's projects out there, and there's a lot of work to be done. Is there anything you want to close with?
Well, we're just getting started. We definitely, as I said before, this is our effort to communicate to everybody else what's going on in the Occupy Eugene Media Group. Yesterday we formed the Occupy Oregon Media Group. We want everybody who has media to come to us and share that and take part in what we're doing. We're just getting started, and there's a great deal left to do.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned.
Yeah.
And we love you all.
We do indeed. So one last time, this has been Occupy TV. This is a project of the Occupy Eugene Media Group, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
All right, thank you.
Whew.
There's something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got